Yiaga Africa has revealed that there were 101 critical incidences witnessed by its observers in the recently concluded polls which held in Kogi, Imo and Bayelsa states, some of which include ballot box snatching, the bypass of INEC's BVAS, election violates, disruption of voting and harassment of voters amongst others. The Election Observation Group says that elections do not hold in many local government areas in Imo State, which violates the right of voters in the affected polling units. The chairman of Yiaga Africa, while briefing newsmen in Abuja, called on INEC to investigate the allegation of malpractice and misapplication of the commission laws by political stakeholders and its staff on the field.
Throughout Election Day, Yiaga Africa verified 101 critical incidents witnessed by our observers. 87 of these reports were received from Imo, and 14 of these reports were received from Kogi. Some of these critical incidents relate to polling units not open, as noted in our earlier statement, where 37 or 39% of polling units in Imo where elections were not conducted due to several issues, and we have called on INEC, to explain what transpired and in those places, because our data shows that elections were not conducted in 12% of polling units, sampled polling units in Imo. But we've also received additional reports from our mobile observers that indicates that there are additional polling units where elections did not hold. These cases, as we've noted in our earlier statements, are prevalent in 9 polling units in Osu, 8 polling units in Okigwe, 8 polling units in Oru East, 7 in Olu local government, and 1 polling unit each in Idiato, Ikeduru, Oru West, and Owerri West local government in our sampled polling units. These data suggest that elections may not have held in the designated polling units in those identified local governments, which to a large extent questions the transparency of the process, and it violates the rights of voters in those affected polling units. At Yiaga Africa, we are concerned about the continuous decline in the quality of our elections and the penchant to lower the integrity standards of our elections, irrespective of reforms introduced by INEC and progress made in reforming our election legal. In terms of critical incidents, we have noted there are cases of ballot box snatching, bypass by BVAS, violence and disruption, harassment of voters. All these are highlighted in our statements. The election does question the commitment of democratic institutions to electoral integrity and credible elections. As a result of the missing data from Yiaga Africa's process and results verification for transparency, PRVT, sampled polling units, coupled with the high number of critical incidents recorded in Imo, we are not in a position to verify the credibility of the process and the outcome of the Imo governorship elections. Yiaga Africa urgently calls on INEC to review and conduct a comprehensive audit of the Imo governorship election results to inspire confidence in the process and its outcome. And to our recommendations, we've called on INEC to thoroughly investigate all the allegations of malpractices, the misapplication of election laws and guidelines, and remediate all the flaws, including prosecuting its staff for complicity. INEC should also conduct a comprehensive audit of the Imo governorship elections and make its findings public. Increasingly, voters are tactically disenfranchised for conducts that are not within their control. We call on INEC to review its policy to ensure that eligible voters across all polling units are given the equal opportunity to vote. This includes a policy that reviews or ensures that voters in polling units where elections are cancelled or suspended do have an opportunity to cast their vote. We also call on the National Assembly to accelerate the process of electoral reform, especially the establishment of the Electoral Offences Commission, and promptly and diligently prosecute electoral offenders. The elections in Kogi and Imo reaffirm the lack of commitment to democratic principles and credible elections on the part of electoral stakeholders. The zero-sum attitude to electoral politics undermines electoral integrity and citizens' rights to elect leaders. Yiaga Africa reiterates its earlier call that election administration requires fundamental reforms to not only inspire public confidence, but enhance the legitimacy of election processes and outcomes. This includes fundamentally reforming the election management body, in this case INEC, as well as the attitude of politicians to elections. Cases where electoral officials arrive at the polling units with pre-filled election results is unacceptable and highly condemnable.